Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah. Continuing in volume 2, Riyadh al-Salihin, book number 8, the book of virtues, chapter 180, the merit of the recitation of the noble Quran. Narrated Abu Umama radiyallahu anhu, I heard Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying, recite the noble Quran because it will come as an intercessor for its reciters on the day of judgment. Muslim. This hadith tells us the merits of reciting the Quran and acting upon its injunction, because in the absence of practice is mere recitation in a sweet voice will have no value with Allah. Intercession in this hadith means that the noble Quran will be endowed with the power of speech by Allah, and it will request Allah for the forgiveness of the sins of its reciters who acted upon its teaching. Allah will accept the request of the Quran in this behalf, as is related in other ahadith. Narrated an-Nawas bin Sam'an radiyallahu anhu that I heard Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying, on the day of resurrection, the noble Quran and those who recited it and acted upon it will be brought forth. Surah Al-Baqarah and Ali Imran will be pleading on their behalf. Muslim. This hadith means that on the day of judgment, the noble Quran with Surah Al-Baqarah and Ali Imran in the forefront will intercede before Allah for those who used to recite them and act upon them in the life of the world. Narrated Uthman bin Affan radiyallahu anhu that Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the best among you is the one who learns the Quran and teaches it to others. Al-Bukhari. Narrated Aisha radiyallahu anha that Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the one who is proficient in the recitation of the noble Quran is associated with the honorable and obedient scribes, i.e. angels. And he who recites the noble Quran and finds it difficult to recite, doing his best to recite it in the best way possible, will have a double reward. Al-Bukhari and Muslim. Proficient here means one who reads the Quran in accordance with the rules of Ilm al-Tajweed, the science of the recitation of the Quran, as is evidenced from the words of Imam al-Bukhari narrated and the title given to the chapter. This hadith also highlights the merits of the reader of the noble Quran who neither knows Ilm al-Tajweed nor has a good voice, and for that reason cannot read it fluently. But in spite of all these shortcomings, he reads it slowly with great effort. He reads it with great passion and patiently bears the labor that he has to make for it. Such a person will be given a double reward, one for the difficulty encountered in reciting it, and one for the effort he made. Safratan, translated in the hadith as scribes, i.e. angels, mean the angels that convey the wahi to Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is the plural of safir, passenger or traveler. Imam Bukhari has taken it to mean one who makes reconciliation. The angels who bring wahi and chastisement from Allah are likened to the ambassadors who patch up differences between people. Sahih Bukhari, commentary on Surah Abasa. Narrated Abu Musa al-Ashari radiyallahu anhu that Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the believer who recites the noble Quran is like a citron whose fragrance is sweet and whose taste is delicious. A believer who does not recite the noble Quran is like a date fruit which has no fragrance but has a sweet taste. The hypocrite who recites the noble Quran is like a colocynth, which is fragrant but its taste is bitter. The hypocrite who does not recite the noble Quran is like basil, which has no fragrance and is bitter in taste. Al-Bukhari and Muslim. This hadith tells us that the believer who recites the noble Quran and acts upon it will be in a high rank with Allah. He is loved by Allah and also enjoys public esteem. The believer who does not recite it but acts upon its teaching is also respected by Allah and people. The hypocrite who recites the noble Quran to keep up appearances has a good show but an evil and dark mind. Last of all comes that hypocrite who does not study the noble Quran and has a dark mind and appearance. Narrated Umar bin al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu that Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Verily, through this book, i.e. the noble Quran, Allah exalts some people and humiliates some other people." Muslim. Only such person will be elevated on the behest of Allah who will act upon the teachings of the noble Quran and abstain from what is forbidden by Allah. Those who will eventually come to a sad end have to suffer humiliation and disgrace. The Muslims of the early centuries of Islam were blessed with great honor and respect by Allah because they loved and practiced the noble Quran. Because of this meaningful attachment with the Quran, they made great achievements in religion and worldly spheres. Since the time they excluded the practice of Islam from their life, they have been afflicted with disgrace and humiliation. May Allah grant us guidance and enable us to re-establish our contact with the noble Quran so that we can regain our past glory. Exaltation and humiliation mentioned in this hadith is bound to happen in both this life and in the hereafter. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.
That was the second Bukhari?
Book 2, yes.
Book 2.
What chapter?
Just Riyadh al-Salihin.
That was Riyadh al-Salihin.
Yes.
Okay.